welcome back to my craft table. So it's Friday and it's lucky dip time. This is what's in my jolly box. This is a weekly series where I pull out my box of unfinished projects and I randomly grab 2 packets and then I see what I can turn them into, and you're invited to join along with your own unfinished projects. I've got a hashtag finish it on Friday, so I'd love for you to join in the fun. You can post it onto the community tab if you like, and we can all cheer each other on. So let's see what we're playing with this week. So I'm just going to kind of close my eyes and randomly just grab 2 packets. So all right, let's move this box out of the way and let's see what we've got. Okay, all right, so, oh, it looks like we've got more belly bands. I did belly bands last week, so that's going to be fun. So this is book pages that, as I have been using them, I've folded them over and glued them together, and we can now turn these into belly bands. That's fine. I've got some ideas for that. There's some other strips that I thought might be good. And this one here, this is interesting. So this is obviously something that I've seen along the way, and it's a journaling spot that we can decorate, but we can then also unfold it and use it for some journaling space. Goodness me. All right, I'm going to have to really analyze this one because I do remember, and unfortunately I don't remember who I saw, but because we're talking probably even maybe potentially 3 years ago, but I do remember being very impressed with the idea. Gosh, you could almost even go like that, couldn't you? But that would be too much, I think. All right, so let's get to it and let's make some ephemera. Okay, so I've had a little practice. It actually looks more complicated than what it actually is, and I thought I would make 3. And so first of all, I wanted to just sort of mention that I'm going to start making journals soon, and I have these file folders that I've folded into a journal cover. That it will be a single signature journal, and I've got 35 of them, so I want to make them all into single signature journals. And I've just kind of quickly tested my size of my paper, and I mean that is going to be probably a little big, to be honest. I probably would need to possibly cut down my paper, so I'm going to do that. So I'm glad I checked that. So let's get out my trimmer, and I'm just going to trim them slightly, just to, by the time I fold them, they will be just that little bit smaller. So I might take, I think I'll take an inch off. So look, I'm just going to eyeball it, but that's roughly what I'm going to do. Take an inch, or maybe 3/4, about an inch I would say, because if I'm taking it off all sides, then it's going to make the whole lot smaller, isn't it? So I don't want to go too small either. Hopefully this will work out. And hopefully I get all my edges square. It's probably less. Okay. So I'll keep those strips. I've got quite a few videos on using up strips. I'll link them in the description if you're interested in what you would do with strips like that. All right, I'll see if I can demonstrate this to you. So you fold it in half. Now I would just very lightly fold it actually all the way down. So I pinched it up the top there, but I also did slightly fold that there so you can kind of see, and bring this edge in here. Then grab the bottom right corner and fold it up. Then this bottom bit here you fold in like so, but just make sure you just get all your corners folded nicely. Okay, so see how I paid particular attention to folding there. Same thing here, fold up, but make sure you've got all your right angles correct. Okay, I'm pretty sure you fold that up like that, and that can tuck in under there, and then you bring this top bit down. So let me turn it upside down, and I fold it, and then you can tuck that bit there, and there we have it. I did it. So now we can decorate that, and if I bring back my journal size that I'm working on, and so we've got that page there, yeah, that's a better size. I can do it like so. I can clip it in on the edge, or we can tuck it into a pocket. All right, so that was my practice one that I did get wrong at first. Let's do this one. All right, so fold it in half, pinch it at the top, but just very lightly crease it, just so you can kind of see where the middle is. And I'm going to use my grids as well. So there we go. If I go like that, fold that down, and then bring the bottom right hand corner up as well, and meet it in the middle there, and fold it. Then this little piece here, fold, but really pay attention to your angles here. We'll turn this like so, and there we go. Bring that down there, and then we fold this up and tuck it there. Bone folder would really be helpful in this position, and then we also fold that one up, and that can tuck in under there. Okay, and just use our bone folder to just lightly sort of get all of our, because so you've got a few folds of paper there, so it is a bit thick. It's not thick at all, but you know, for folding over and creasing, once you get it, it's fine. And it's not very thick at all. It's just a matter of folding it down, and so you can see it's puckered a little bit there, but nothing major. There we go. We just fix that. All right, so I have got 3. I like that. I really like that little trick. So I thought to decorate the pockets, we will just go really simple, because this is about finishing unfinished projects. We don't need anything complicated. Now, I checked my serviettes to see if I had any scraps, and I didn't appear to have any, which is crazy, but I'm really also happy about that. So I thought we would take a couple of serviettes and just decorate the front. So let me get my little sticky tape trick and separate that off. And see if there's another layer. Sometimes there's 3 layers, but sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's just the one. And sometimes you think that there's not, but there actually is. So yes, there actually was 3 layers in this instance. Right, so I'll take that all off. Okay, so I think it's a matter of working out what would be a nice placement. See where we can get the best. So I think if I come I think I will get the 3 there. I think if I'm very careful, I can get that. It doesn't matter if I slightly lose a little bit of the wing, that's not a problem. See, I don't want to get the antenna if I can help that. So if I drop that down like that, we're going to slightly lose, or maybe if I move it across, we're going to slightly lose the tip. Hold on. But yeah, it doesn't matter if we slightly lose the, although I can move this over just a tad. Oh, actually I can move it over more. That's a letter there. This one's just a little bit tricky just to get the right orientation, but I think if I do it like that, that will be good. So let me just dip my brush into some water. All right. Okay, we got there. All right, so I don't think it really matters which way we put it on. So let's get that down. Okay, so we've got that on. I'll just let that dry, and then what I'll do is just come along with my sandpaper, and then I will sort of clean the edges up there. So that's one, and then when you open it up, hopefully this has worked. Yes, then when we open it up, we've got some journaling space there. So we'll just let that dry. All right, so this one here, I've got some Tim Holtz Ideology collage paper, which I've had forever. So it'd be nice to use some of that up. And that one, I think what I might do is just simply put my glue down. And then I will just fold this over. And then I'll just cut that, and then we can trim that up a bit later on when the glue has dried. And this one here is so pretty. Maybe we can get our stamps out and just do a little bit of pretty stamping. Let me grab some stamps, and I might use the coffee. I don't mind trying out this new one here actually. All right. So I might bring you in a little bit closer so you can see the stamping. All right, so I'm thinking if I do a little bit of script in the background, maybe this nice lady up the top there, and I might do that in the corner. All right, let's do that. Yep, got that right. So I might do it down here where it's not so much. I think that's actually perfect. I think I'll leave it like that. Maybe come across here a bit. And then let's get this lady here with her pretty bonnet. There we go. And then we can add this decorative corner here, like so. And do we need anything else? We do need something up there. There is perfume bottle, butterflies. What if we put the mirror and perfume bottle and maybe the butterfly? I think let's try that. There we go. And then just to finish it off, I'll get some Distress ink and we can ink the edges. There we go. And I'll just come around now that these are pretty dry, and I will just get my, see what I'm doing here with the sandpaper. This is like an emery board for nails. My nail lady gave this to me many years ago and I've still got it, and it still does a really good job. So if you can get yourself one of these, they're so good for this type of job. Alright, so we've got these ones here. Little birdie's probably a little bit off center, but never mind. But still, beautiful idea, and glad I have got those done. So that will definitely be put away in my little box where I can pull from. So we'll now set up for the belly bands because I've been playing around and I've got a few really good ideas. Okay, so we'll do the first lot of belly bands. So I had 6 in total. For these 2 here, I'm going to use these 2 embossing folders that I have literally just received in the mail. I got these from Temu, if you're interested to know. So I have been dying to try this out actually, and that's why I'm so pleased that I got this. All right, so I have got these paints here. I'll just hold them up so that you can see what they are. I got these from Spotlight, but I'm sure that they're available in a lot of places. And Periwinkle and Fresh Mint Series 1 is what I'm going to try. I've tried the Fresh Mint before. It's a lovely colour. So I'm just going to put a little bit in there, and I'm going to paint the base of the book page. So let me get rid of some of this excess water here. So I'm just going to give it a couple of coats, and what I'm going to do is paint the base, and then I'm trying to decide whether I want to stamp it or just leave it. I think it depends on how much of the book page we can see coming through. So that's that one there. I'd like to try and give a couple of coats if I can. All right, so I'm just going to put the Periwinkle into this one, and this is a brand new one. I haven't even tried this one yet. I'm so excited to see how this turns out. Okay, so let's put, whoop. All right, so we'll try this one. Oh, that's a lovely colour as well. They also do a pearl colour, which is a really lovely colour. When I did my belly bands from last week, I used the pearl colour, and that was a gorgeous colour. So I'm really happy with these ones. They're limited editions, so they may not be available anymore. Okay, so I'll just paint these down just so that we don't get any streaks. Don't know what's happened there. It doesn't look like it's glued, so I will have to glue that down once it's dry. All right, so now that we've got that bit done, I'll put them to the side and we'll let them dry and we'll get on with the next one. Okay, so this one I thought I would just do a little bit of simple quick collage. I'm going to layer these collage pieces down. These ones are mushrooms, and I'm trying to stick with, you know, botanical butterflies, mushrooms, you know, things that are fairly neutral so that I can kind of pop them into any type of journal, although mushrooms would probably definitely be kind of more of a botanical type journal. But I'm just sort of trying to think a little bit ahead so that I don't end up making something that I can't really use. So I'm going to have to glue this down, but I am going to stitch the edges, so that's going to further reinforce it anyway. But let's just finish off gluing this down. All right, so I'm thinking, first of all, let me distress ink everything. All right, I'm just seeing which is the best side to use because there's a lot of words on here that I don't really want to have in a journal. It's about war. I don't know what the book is. All I know is that I like the fact that the pages are aged nicely, but you do need to kind of be aware of that, you know, what words are sticking out. But these ones we will end up pretty much covering, so we'll be good. All right, so I'll just distress these. Okay, so this one I did just spritz it with a little bit of water because it was white. So I think I like that. I'm just going to kind of put them a little bit zigzaggy, and I'm just going to, do the label. Actually, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I don't need. Maybe I'll just do it like that, and then I'll just zigzag around the edges. So let's get that down. I might use my craft glue. I've been using this a little bit lately, not particularly this one, but I've been using my Ephemera glue lately, and I've actually been liking using it. Usually I use art glitter glue, but I have been quite liking the fact that it doesn't really bubble up the paper, like it doesn't make it go wrinkly, which the art glitter glue doesn't. But yeah, I've just sort of been liking to use it lately. All right, I'm just going to get these down. Now when I'm putting this down, I'm just being careful where I'm putting it, because I wanted that on the angle, didn't I? Hold on, because there's a few words in there I definitely want to make sure that I cover up. Let's see if I can get this up again. Okay, and then this is a little bit wet, but I think it'll be okay with this glue. I think this glue will be able to still stick it down. And then I'll just get the mushrooms down. I will have to change the thread in my sewing machine, but that's okay. I've actually got a few things I need to sew, and I think I've just been waiting for the right time to change over the thread, so I think that time is now. Right, so let's move this a little bit over that way, and I'm wondering to finish off whether maybe a label. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, I think that goes really well. And Yeah, I think we can do that too. So let's get those down. Now it is a little bit shiny, but actually if I just rub that, that's taking it off. Now I remember why I don't use that glue. A little trick, you can get these craft eraser rubbers and you can just come along and use these. That will take up the shiny bit of residue. Might need to do that one again. So I think I will switch over to my art glitter glue. All right. Yeah, I really like that. So I'm going to stitch around the edge just to finish that off. So I'll just pop that on my sewing machine because we've got the other ones to do. So we got this one here. Now, I was doing a project and I was snipping off all these little triangles, and I just happened to be stitching a lot of stuff and I stitched them. And I never really knew what I was going to use them for, but I'm thinking that this is perhaps the project. So what I was thinking was to layer these up like so, coming up like that, and then on this side, if I put the music one in the middle, and then perhaps this one here like that, and then have that like that, and then that way we've got some little tuck spots that we can use on the belly band. So let's decide what base we're going to use for the belly band. Now I'm wondering if perhaps that fits. I might just glue that down. It was just a little off cut I happen to have off the edge of my mat here. So let's put that down. And that way it gives it a little bit more strength as well. And I don't mind that it's a little bit torn here. You know how we roll with our journaling stuff. Let's kind of piece this together. So I think if I get my, now I forget which way I had it, this way. Yeah. All right, let's get those pieces down. I think I might sew this, and at the moment I can just use the thread that I've got in at the moment. So I'll be back in a tick. Okay, so I have stitched around the edges, and now I'm going to get these down because every time I move these around I forget how I wanted them. So the sooner I can get these down, I think the better. So I think this one went here. It's just slightly bigger, but I don't think that matters. And get this one down. So I remember sewing these and thinking, what on earth am I going to use these for? But I don't know, I just wanted to do it. So I'm kind of glad now. All right, just move that one up just a little. So these two here, I'm gluing. I think it was a case of that I already was stitching and I just threw them in and just stitched them and thought, oh well, I'll work something out. Okay, so then on this side I think I wanted it like this, and then like that. So I think I'll get this one down first. So how is everyone today? I've just sort of been so busy just launching into the video that I haven't asked how you all are. I hope everyone is doing well and having a wonderful day. So is anybody watching anything interesting on Netflix or, you know, on any of the streaming services? We just finished watching, well, I finished watching Steel with Sophie Turner in it. Wow, that was so good. All right, well, there we go. I mean, I think it would look more effective with some little tags in it and some little bits and pieces. There you go, just to give you the idea, but I think that this will be more of a decorating thing when it actually finally gets put into a journal. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that one's turned out. Okay, so these ones here, I have obviously got the base, and then I found this lovely piece of tea-dyed, and I think this is the correct way, tea-dyed little bit of lace or curtain fabric it might be. I don't even know where I got that from, but that fits perfectly there. And then I thought that I could just have these butterflies coming up like so. And then I thought I would just run a stitch right through the middle of them. I might actually stitch underneath and then kind of glue this down and then run a stitch through the top. So that one's going to be quite easy to assemble. And this one here, I found this fabric here, which has got a nice frayed ripped edge to it. And it's all nice and grungy. And this is an old piece of acetate. It was a 12" by 12" sheet, and I just ended up cutting it up into little fussy cut out the butterflies, and then these ones I just left. So I'm thinking I might just put that on the top. So sorry for the glare there. Now I'm going to try and round the edges on this because I've done it on a couple of others and I'm almost through these, but I'm hoping it doesn't wreck my little rounding corners punch because it does tend to jam. So hopefully I'm not going to destroy it. All right, one left to go. Oh, there we go, got it. Oh, I quite like the way that that's all folded as well. Maybe it did it like that. Yeah, I like that. Just means it's going to be a bit wasteful unless I come down with it. I guess I could do that. All right, let's get my fabric scissors and we'll make a little snip around about there. Oh, it's phrased beautifully. Okay, and then I'm going to need to snip it around about there. Okay, so now I'm left with these pieces for something else. All right, and let's get this one down. Might just slightly trim these and pull these ones up just to fray it just a little bit more. Right, so I don't actually think I want to stitch the edges of this. Now this is a piece of lace that I used to use for tea dyeing, and it's just getting so grungy. I thought, you know what, I'll just use it. And I think what I'll do is, how about if I do it like this? So snip kind of this bit up here and have it literally like that, and then have that in the middle. But I think that's the right way. So if I glue that down and just attach that like that, I'm wondering if I stitch through that as well. I'm thinking I might do that. All right, let's get it down. So I'm going to use my fabric glue. So I think I'll just give this a good cover with the glue on the base. Okay. So let that just all naturally fall down. And just press that down nicely. Goodness, when I did that belly band last week with the bridal veil toil that had the strengthening, you know, the facing or whatever it was actually plastic. It was some sort of like a plastic, and when I'd cut them, all these little fine little slivers had come off. And later that night I was wondering why I had all these little cuts on my fingers, and I had like a little splinter of the fine plastic. Oh my goodness. Bearing the war wounds. Okay, so let's get that one there. And then I'm going to have to carefully try and glue this down. I'll have to get some more lace out and you know, dye with the lace pieces, and then yeah, after several batches I can toss it back in and reuse it for sort of a bit of a grungier look. I like it. I like what it's done. It's a lovely lace as well, which is why I chose it, because I thought, I'm pretty sure it's got butterflies, or it might have, one of them anyway has got little dragonfly shapes in the lace. Okay, this is where I think I need to get this out. Okay. Right, so let's see how we can get this down. I'm switching to the Helma 450 quick dry adhesive. Because it's got a shiny surface, this glue is quite good at sticking this down. So this is the reverse side. So just where all those little black bits are, that's where I'll put my glue. Because it's an acetate, it's going to be quite stiff anyway. So let's put that there like so. But to really secure it down, I'm just going to run a wonky stitch like a wavy stitch through it. All right, so let's let that dry and let's come and do this one. So I think I might distress the edges because it is going to kind of peek through. And so this is going to be a bit of an easier one. I'll just literally get my, now, yeah, this is the reverse side. Get my fabric glue and I'm just going to run it along these little dots here. I might just run some around the edges as well. Can't remember whether I said I was going to stitch or not, but apparently not. Okay, so let's get this down. Right, and just pat this down, and then I'll just need to place these down. I'll match them up, I think, like that. You know what, I might stitch the edges and then I'm just going to do a wonky stitch, so I might need to kind of go like that. I will glue down the butterflies and come back and I'll show you both of these pieces stitched. Okay, so all done. That's what that looks like there. And this one looks like that. I was really not sure how that would turn out with the stitch down the middle, so I did a zigzag, but actually I'm really happy with it. You can't really even notice the zigzag, to be honest, through the acetate, so that has worked out really well. And just to recap, these are the other two that I've done. So that just leaves this one now. So these are dry, so I'm just going to glue those again. So let's just move these. Oh, the other thing I did too was I just did the little stitches for the little antennas. I always do like to do that when I remember. That's just a little bit of fun. All right, so let's put these over to the side. And okay, so we've got these ones here. Now I'm going to just fix this. Doesn't seem that this, I did give this a second coat too, actually. All right, so it's a little bit more opaque, but you can still see the book page through it. So what I'm going to do is take my two embossing folders and I'm going to run them through. Now somewhere I pulled out, I think it might have been that one there. I just don't know because I haven't tried it, but it's a Starburst spray and it's a bit of a darker colour, but I'm just thinking, and it's got a bit of a mica powder shine to it, but I'm thinking what I might do is spray it very softly into here and then emboss and see whether maybe it brings up a bit of a two-tone effect. I may ruin it, I don't know. This one, yeah, I think I'd like to do the same. So I'm going to try that and I'm going to come back. Now don't be surprised if I stitch it as well, because sometimes I just get a little bit excited, so I want to see how it looks. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so the first one that I did, I think I got it wrong. But I can still use it. It's still pretty. So I have to cut down here because that's where the embossing folder finishes, but that's fine. I just need to now back it to a longer piece. So I was going through my papers, and from my brown paper packaging video I did this peeled paint texture, and I'm thinking that if I just trim that down and maybe trim it a little bit on the side and use that as the piece, I think the colour will look really lovely, and then I can stitch around the edge, and I think that will look really lovely. Now this is another one that I did, and it's very bright. Brown paper packaging, and I used the glycerine, and then I got tissue paper, and I put the tissue paper on the top while it was all wet with the glycerine, and I sort of I smooshed in and allowed all that texture, and then I used all different colour paints, and it's a bit bright. But having said that, I'm thinking again, if I trim it just down a little bit, it's got even a bit of a mica sort of gloss to it that kind of tones in with that. So a bit bright, but I think it would look all right. I'm going to trim them down slightly, cut that off, and then obviously I'm going to trim these pages to suit the size of my journal page and make them the right dimensions width-wise, and then I'm going to secure it all down and stitch the edges. So I will be back with the reveal, plus we'll line up all the other pieces that we've been working on. Okay, so here we are. This is what I ended up doing with this one here. So I put a little label down the bottom, and we'll see how the colour goes. But I do actually really like it. I think in the right journal it'll be lovely. But this one here, oh my goodness, I'm so happy with this. So I'm going to bring everything back, and we're going to have a look at everything that we have made. Well, here we go. What a busy afternoon I've had, but very, very happy with everything. So I'm loving these little journaling spots. If you remember, we folded those, so these can unfold and you've got a whole journaling page, and then they can fold back up again. And this little bird, we chopped his beak off. So what I did end up doing was adding another bird that I'd fussy cut out, and I think that's a little bit more balanced now. And this one here was just some simple stamping on the beautiful tea dyed paper background, and this one was some serviette paper. And then we've got the belly bands here, which I'm so happy with all of them actually. So yeah, as I said, I've had a busy afternoon. I'm so pleased with how this little series is turning out. I'm just going to remove that so it doesn't sit in the glare there. I hope you guys are enjoying it, but for me, goodness me, I'm getting stuff made, but also it's really making me think and dive into my supplies and use up my stash. So guys, that's it for another video for me. I'll catch you next week in the next one. Have a great week, and bye for now.